Intro. So three, two, one. When did gaming start to feel like a commitment? Not just time, but money. Not just money, but attention. Games are bigger than ever, more expensive than ever, and somehow harder to stick with than ever. So tonight we're talking about the costs of gaming, not just what we pay, but how we put into it. From the rising prices to open worlds that don't feel special anymore to the moment a game loses you in the first hour. And yeah, we're also calling ourselves out a little bit along the way. Welcome to Press Start Together. I'm Ed, also known as the Altaholic, and today's episode is one where I think we're all going to feel a little called out. We've got a great lineup of topics. Is gaming getting too expensive? Are open worlds still special? The first hour problem, and a little segment we're calling Confession Time. But before we get into all that, I would love to introduce our lovely co hosts and the people that I get to call my friends. I'm going to start with our pixelated king over here, Zeno.
Thank you for having me, Alto, and thank you for having me, Tess. I am Zeno. I am a humble alien from the planet Zalari, and this is the mothership.
Awesome. And of course, we're going to have you, Zeno. We love you here. My other lovely co host, I have Tess on holiday. Tess, take it away.
Hi, my name's Tess. I'm the Queen of Relaxation Nation. Don't forget your sunscreen. You can follow me anywhere with Tess on holiday.
Awesome. And before we jump into it, Zeno, it seems you're muted on stream, but we have one special guest who you cannot see on our channel. That's because he's a very tiny little hamster, but we love him so much. Ballin with the sauce. Ballin, introduce yourself for our friends.
Hi guys, how you doing? My name's Balling. Well, I go by many different names. I go by Saucy, I go by Balling, I go by Socia. And I have a little channel called Balling with the Sauce. It's really nice to meet you. It's really, really nice to meet you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Now, before we get into all of our topics, we're going to jump into what we like to call our inventory check. For those of you who haven't been here before, our inventory check is what we are playing right now. So, Sauce, since you are our special guest, what have you been playing since I was going to say last we spoke, but we spoke about an hour ago, but in the last month?
Uh, the last time we actually like spoke was during a stream of my good friend, your friend Despero, and I've been playing a little bit of Destiny. I got back
Ooh.
into it because of you and him, and I've been getting hooked. I've been getting hooked. You know, I'm really excited to actually get to do some dungeons and some raids with y'all. So I'm just fixated. Other than that, I've been doing some stuff like Sly Cooper, some old-fashioned games like Spiral the Dragon, stuff like that. As a variety streamer, I tend to actually try to stray away from uh,
Yeah.
main generic things, but the games that I've just been playing has been just awesome.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you for that. And yeah, not gonna lie, Destiny 2 has kind of taken over some of my free time, which means none of my life anyway, because that Star Wars expansion is really, really fun. You ask for, or you say you're gonna give me a lightsaber, and I'm gonna shove my money at you. But Tess, what about you? What have you been playing?
So I just finished up Baldur's Gate 3. I beat Pantheon 4 and Hollow Knight, and
Nice.
we're fixing to start up another run in Baldur's Gate 3 because I'm obsessed. And then I'll be playing some modded Elden Ring, and I just
Ooh,
completed Stray. And we've been playing some
such
like
a good game.
Tomei dating games, so we're like all over the board.
Very nice. Yeah, I've caught those. Those dating games are there's something. I'm glad you're enjoying them, but again, yeah, no, I'm really excited to see modded Elden Ring content. That'll be entertaining. But how did you like Stray, if you don't mind me asking? Because I loved it.
A work of art, made me cry, and also had some, like, actually creepy moments. Why is it always bugs?
You know what? Fair. And I don't have an answer for that, but yeah, no, it is. That is definitely one of the best games I played of that year. I don't even remember what year it was though. But Zeno, what about you? What have you been playing?
Mm. I've actually been playing something that's interestingly aptly named Zeno Arena. It's a new little expansion in No Man's Sky. Should be able to hear me now, Black Ninja. By the way, let me know if you can't. Still, I'll see about fixing that. There we go, loud and clear. Awesome. But yeah, No Man's Sky has been one of my kind of returning favorites. So that is quite an interesting approach to creature battling. A little bit Digimon, a little bit Pokemon, but
Very cool. Yeah, I've caught a couple of streams where you've gone out and like caught them around. Again, every time I watch you play No Man's Sky, I sit there and go, I'ma buy that game. And then I sit there and look at how many games I have installed on my hard drive and go, I'ma wait for a sale. But I'm still gonna buy it because I have no self-control. But for me, yeah, I finished the main campaign of Crimson Desert a couple of weeks ago, and that was a phenomenal game. I
That's a
really
good
do.
looking game.
Yeah, I really want to go back and like do some more exploration and everything like that. But I started Pragmata the other day, and that has been really fun. The combat in that is great. I'm really enjoying that. I think Capcom may, if they keep this up, they may be like developer of the year with all the stuff that they have come out with. Because it's just been hit after hit. And like Sauce said, I am also back on that Destiny 2 grind because uh, apparently there's 3 different lightsaber hilts and 13 more lightsaber crystal colors that I can get, and Papa need. Yeah, but before we get into my obsessions, we're going to get into our first topic, and let's just say it outright. Gaming is not a cheap hobby anymore. We've got $70 base games, deluxe editions that start at $100+ DLCs, expansions, battle passes, subscriptions, and I don't even want to start talking about hardware. It adds up fast. But here's the tricky part. Are games actually too expensive? Or are we just buying more than we used to? Before I jump in with my opinion on all of these, I'm going to kick it off to Zeno first. So Zeno, what do you think? Is gaming getting too expensive?
I think like everything, inflation has obviously hit gaming, right? Like companies are trying to justify 90 to $100 price tags, and usually that starts with bundle deals and deluxe editions that end up turning into ultimate editions that end up turning into here's 150 here's an $150 version. We're not really sure what you're going to get, but you might get the first year of DLC or maybe the second year of DLC alongside the first year, and it's constantly like a long-term investment for certain games, especially if they're live service. But like the one thing I did notice is that people also aren't aware of how advanced some of these games have gotten, right? Like we're seeing GTA 6, right? Or yeah, GTA 6. And people are like, well, it should be a $60 price tag, $70 price tag, whatever the normal median usually. It's actually, I think it's like 50 or something, 49.99 in the US. But here in Canada it's always been 79.99 for pretty much any game. Like other than a game that says, oh, we're $20 less than most games like Helldivers, for example. Um I think it's like for me, it's like how much more am I gonna have to invest into the game after the fact? Rather than how much am I initially paying now?
Mm.
Because most games are gonna go on that $90 price tag at this point.
Yeah, no, it's definitely interesting, and like that is a good point where it's like teams are larger, the games are getting bigger. Are these good things? We will talk about those a little bit later too, but like yeah, it's I don't want to say it's justifiable, but you can it's understandable to a point. Um I do apologize if I pronounce your name wrong.
Chaos.
Chaos. Oh, okay. If I have to pay $90+ for a 6-hour game, I'll just switch hobbies or just play free games. Oh yeah, I definitely think that there are like tiers when it comes down to it, where it's like
Mhm.
I don't think there is such a thing as like too short of a game. I think there are too short of a game for the price. So definitely on that. But Tess, what about you? What's your opinion on this matter?
I am very excited for the new Yoshi game that Nintendo's going to be putting out. But again, if they smack a $75, $80 price tag on that, I'm not going to be purchasing it
Mm.
because unlike Poketopia or Tamagotchi, there's an end. Like you can only take it so far,
Mhm.
even after you like 100% it, unless you're a speedrunner or somebody's got to speedrun Yoshi, but it's not going to be me.
Not with that attitude.
But I
pretty
will
much.
say that I can understand with like Poketopia and with Tamagotchi, like I can see you justifying the $80 price tag for those. You can get hundreds of hours of gameplay out of them, like with Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, and Animal Crossing. But yeah, like Chaos said, you try and give me a 6-hour game for $90, I'm just not gonna buy it. It's not worth my time. Whereas like paying $40 for Baldur's Gate 3 and getting 400 hours of playtime, easy
Yeah.
girl math. But then again, I see the lovely Freerin special
Freerin?
edition graphics card that's being put out right now.
Oh, yeah.
And it's only available in Singapore, which means to get your hands on that, you not only have to pay the base price, you have to pay the scalper price here in America. And boy, oh boy, I want it so bad, but my pocketbooks do not even have those kinds of numbers in them. So
I'm not going to try and help your addiction, but if you want to pick that up, I may know a source. We could talk offline about that. You will still have to pay some import things, but I digress with that. But it won't. It would be most
it
close to
won't be
MSRP.
scalper.
Yeah, it would not be scalper prices. But I digress with that.
Because they also have a mouse and keyboard set. So
Dagger. Oh, sorry. I just want to sit there and say, like, what did he say? I never buy a brand new game unless it's something incredible. I've waited for like Oblivion, and that was underwhelming. Fair. Yeah, because I'll be honest with you. I think I was talking to our friends of all of our channels, Despero, the other day, and it was the same thing where it was like, hey, there are absolutely no reason to like buy games on release or pre-order them unless it's something that A, you know you're going to play at that moment, or B, so many of them have like, instead of pre-order bonuses, at least on PC that I have found out, I have sat there and like noticed that the pre-order bonus is like 15-20% off the price of the game when you're buying it anyway. So it's like, well, if I'm already going to save $20, or I might as well buy it now. Fable already has my money. You know what? Also, mood fair. But before I talk too much, and Tess, I'm sorry about cutting you off. I'm going to look up that mouse and keyboard set. Or I'm sorry, you said it was it a mouse and keyboard or a mouse pad?
Mouse and keyboard, and well, mouse pad, mouse and keyboard, and graphics card.
Okay.
Like the whole.
I got
They
you.
really went out with that Freerin.
No problem.
And wait.
Yeah, I'll text my guy. But before we go into all of that, Sauce, what about you? What is your opinion? Is gaming too expensive?
Honestly, right now, gaming itself can be expensive, but it's also it's complicated. You know, for a lot of games right now, let's put something like Silksong. Silksong came out for people to like $15 to $20, correct? That was an awesome thing that they gave us. Something like Mouse PI is like $25, and they actually came out within the recourse separately between, I think, like half a year or a year ago. So we are actually getting some more prices up there. Do I think that gaming is expensive? Not only do I think that it's becoming more expensive at the moment, I also think that when it comes to some companies like Nintendo, it may not even be worth actually getting their consoles right now, because of the simple fact that right now, when it comes to this Switch 2, I'm not a really big fan of it because of the fact that it's literally giving us the option of, hey, look, you do this, we'll brick your stuff. And you're basically paying so much money for a brick and games that you don't even own. You know what I mean? Meanwhile, you have games that are from PlayStation, like Sly Cooper and other stuff, that still allow you to use them even if you're offline. You know what I mean? And today, that day and age, like that's unheard of for a lot of games right now. So for me, it really depends on what you're aiming for and what you're looking for as a game, as like it is as an enjoyment. You know what I mean? Especially considering the fact that um, it's a funny thing that you talked about Des, because we actually had a talk before he went to work about how there are certain things right now that should be more reasonable when it comes to digital games compared to um, actual physical copies. Like right now, it's not technically fair that we should be paying the same costs for video games that are both digital and physical. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't seem like it would make more sense for us to pay for digital copies more than paying probably just as the same amount as physical copies. You know what I mean? And it just seems like they could, give us a bone here when it comes to like buying digital copies. You know what I mean? So if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
No, I don't disagree. I, as someone who is in an adjacent industry, or I should say, as a consumer, I could sit there and go like, I shouldn't have to pay the same for digital and physical. As someone who is in an adjacent industry and has seen how little the difference is from a business perspective, because everyone sits there, it's like, oh, the cost to make CDs or DVDs and put them out is so much more than, like digital. It's actually not. That's the weird thing. Like, to put it in perspective, like, I won't say what company I work for. And I won't say what I do at said company, but I looked at the numbers once, and to put something out on digital versus physical, the difference per unit at our cost was 47 cents. So and that 47 cents was the digital actually costing more money because of the server hosting. Which is what a lot of people don't realize when it comes down to it. I'm not saying it's cheaper to put things on physical, but especially when you're at a large scale, when you're, let's say, talking about someone the size of Steam, with the server hostings that are going to be there, the amount of people that need to be, like the bandwidth that is required, the things that are there. I'm not saying that these other companies shouldn't potentially, even if it was a couple of bucks, eat the cost. Because if it's 47 cents, you're going to still make a profit either way. The goodwill, in my opinion, is going to outweigh the cost.
One thing I was
But
gonna say.
oh yeah, go ahead.
Was that it's just in relation to something that you said just right there, and I was like, this just reminds me of Tales games and a lot of Western media back in like the early 2000s. How like when you wanted a game that was like mainly sold in Japan or China, right? They would still send copies over to your local EB Games,
Yeah.
but they weren't sending thousands of copies over, so you rarely could see some of these games or even purchase them because they would quite literally run out, and you would either have to order them online and or from websites and whatnot, because quite simply the need and the demand for it wasn't worth the cost of making the
Mhm.
physical and shipping the physical, especially back then when it was a little bit harder to ship physical media.
Yeah,
Mm.
and like it's again, I don't want to turn this into a digital versus physical type thing, because there's obviously other costs when it comes to physical. When it is, are we just shipping the disc? Are we doing, I think a lot of the reason now that, like, ironically, physical is costing more than digital is because they are treating physical as a collector's edition, even if it is just the same thing but physical. And I think that is a big problem. But I've been of two minds with this when it comes to, is gaming getting more expensive? Because as someone who is the same age as everyone else in my podcast combined, you see things like Street Fighter 2 when it first came out was $65, $70, $85, depending on where in the world you lived. There were games that even in the late 80s and early 90s were pushing $90, copies. I don't think that was an outlier, not the norm, but gaming has, in my opinion, never been a cheap hobby to get into, but it has always been for lack of a better term, a cost-effective hobby to get into. You bought a game, you played it, you got enough entertainment out of it, it was fine. Now people are sitting there going like, oh, games are bigger, development takes longer, teams are larger, blah, 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 price makes sense. I disagree with that. The reason I have a problem, and I think that gaming is getting too expensive overall, is because of how anti-consumer the pricing has become to milk everyone who is a gamer out of more money. It's the early
Absolutely.
access tiers. It's the cosmetic shops. It's the complete editions that happen like 6 to, 9 to 12 months later, that I have now sat there and like we've seen a whole bunch of us, not only in this podcast but in the chat, saying the whole thing. Oh, well, I'll just wait. The game will go on sale, or I'll wait for the complete edition, or I'll wait for these things. And waiting feels smarter than buying a lot of the time. But then if you wait, you're potentially spoiled if you care about those things, where it's like, there are games that I've had in my backlog, but I've gone like, well, I've already watched someone play it, so I'll just wait a little bit longer, where it's like, I still haven't beaten Silksong, not because I didn't like Silksong, but because there were so many other things I was playing around that time. And when Silksong came out, about 10 friends and streamers that I watched all played Silksong, and I was like, all right, well, I know how Silksong ends, so when I'm ready to play it, I guess I'll go back to it, because I was like, I got to Act 3, and I was like, yeah, who hasn't, like, Dragon Age, who hasn't, Dragon Age, Baldur's Gate, like, I'm sure we all have that, where it's like, we watch somebody play it, so we almost got that experience. But I personally, again, I think it is the early access in the cosmetic shops that are, to me, are sitting there going, this is what's making me think gaming is becoming, if not beyond, expensive for the average consumer. Again, yesterday we were talking about it. I think it was Zeno, you, me, and Dez, where he was talking about, I'm going to buy the Monster Hunter cosmetics. Like, there's a couple of them I want to buy, and I'm going to wait to get them on sale. And then he went, he goes, oh, dear fucking God. I was like, what happened? I thought something physically happened to him. And he goes, if I want to buy all of the cosmetics and the things that I want for Monster Hunter, it will be $800. Monster Hunter is not a free game. Monster Hunter does not need additional income. There is absolutely no reason that, like, Monster Hunter should, like, you should sit there, like, there's no reason any fucking game on the planet can sit there and go, oh, you know what I think we should do? Charge half a month's rent for, cosmetics. Yeah. Ritter in the chat, like, that ain't nothing compared to the cost of, like, Sims 4 DLCs. Exactly. And this is the problem.
I was about to say that.
Like, the DLCs for Sim 4, the games that they sit there and, like, on Steam, they're like, oh, yeah, we gave away this game. And then you look it up, and I'm like, oh, yeah, but if I want the fucking DLC that actually gives me the full experience, I've got to, like, sell my kidney and, like, mortgage my fucking house. Like, it's ridiculous.
It's a huge
That's
problem when it comes to games.
Yeah,
right now.
that's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, go ahead,
Well,
Sauce.
Oops, sorry.
Sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, like, when it comes to a lot of games right now, there's a lot of problems when it comes to, like, microtransactions. Like when it comes to a game that I love more than anything, Final Fantasy 14. You're supposed to buy, like, all these different like DLCs, but then have to pay an additional $15 each month and able to actually, continue playing the game. For some people, that's not even worth it. You know what I mean? But then you actually have some people in the Destiny community that is willing to actually buy DLC for Destiny 2, because for PC players and other stuff, they don't actually have to pay PlayStation Plus and other
Yeah.
stuff. So it's practically free monthly for them. You know what I mean? And it's just like that big difference between DLC buying right now that just it can rip a hole in your wallet really, really bad, you know?
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you. At least in the DLC and expansion and monthly service fee, like, don't get me wrong, monthly service fees, I understand the cost when it comes to MMOs and things like that. At least there's content there that is like updating and things of that nature.
Yes.
It, like, you cannot fucking tell me that putting, pink hair and pigtails on somebody is worth $2. Like, no, that's the fuck off. There's no other words for it. Like, no, don't give me that, Tess. No, yeah, like that is
DLC.
something that should have just been built into the game and allowed. Like, you want to make it an unlockable? Fine. Do not make me pull out my wallet to unlock those things. But Tess, you also had something to add too.
We were talking about, they keep increasing the games and the DLC and everything. The price keeps increasing, but the pay to the game devs and those working on the games does not increase at that rate. And that's my problem with it.
Yep.
Because if you were going to be like, oh, hey, we want to make the games more expensive so we can pay our staff, above living wage, and we're trying to make them not work. What are they called? Whenever
Oh, like
games are-
the crazy hours and things like that.
the
Yeah.
crunch hours or whatever they're called. For
Crunch time,
coding.
Mhm.
crunch
Crunch-
hours,
yeah.
whatever they
Crunch
yeah.
time.
And like, again, if you made it more livable for the game devs, I'd be like, okay, yeah, go for it. But they're not. In fact, they're firing more of them at a higher rate to increase their profits and still turning out shitty products and starting to use AI in the design process. And I'm like, icky.
Yeah.
It's horrible. It's horrible because right now AI fundamentally it can be like the poison for video games right now. Not that I have like a lot of disrespect for AI. I'm very neutral when it comes to AI. But when it comes to it affecting jobs, when it comes to affecting artists that have spent their time of their life basically perfecting their craft and everything, that could be it can be awful. I mean, like right now you have a game as Mouse PI that has put 3 years in the making because people are actually putting the work, working on the art, working on the models, just putting their absolute best for this game. And it actually shows. It's such a wonderful looking game. But
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
when it comes to something like, I'm gonna say this right now, Zen, because like even though I know you like this game, I'm actually worried for where Winds meet
So
because
am I.
of
So am
AI.
I have been very, very watching closely of all the new updates of what they're doing and how they're implementing it. At first, like we thought, it was just chatbots, very low language learning models, but it could quite literally destroy the game internally. Because the more that you push the AI, the more it's like, okay, so am I just paying for cosmetics to fund your AI data centers at this
Probably.
point? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
I've been a little bit skeptical as of late right now, but I've been looking into it a bit more, and so far they're pretty tight-lipped on how they're implementing it as of after actually like running the game and stuff. But I understand what you mean. It's a pretty dangerous line.
Yeah. Before we jump to our next topic as well, I just wanted to bring up a couple of things in the chat. Ritter again, I once heard a streamer considering to take out a loan to buy all the Sims 4 DLC in order to stream the game. Yep, you're 100% correct. That is insane. What was another? I love the Yakuza games, but sadly in recent times they've locked things like New Game Plus behind launch day DLCs. Do not get me started with things like that. I will go off on another tangent, and we already started late. DLSS, I can't lie, I'm shocked it's working better, but yet looking good doesn't mean great content or story. 100%. And I think that is everything on there. Any final thoughts on this? Because trust me, I'm sure we could all go off on this for, another 2 hours because It's I don't want to say it's what we do for a living, but we're all streamers. We all have to pay for these things, and after a
Why does the
while,
first
it
gen PS5 remote. Sorry, I was gonna say,
no.
why does the first gen PS5 remote still cost $90?
Oof.
That I'm still mad about that.
Hash,
And the
Oh,
fact
dude.
that the only other version is a wired version for like $10 less.
You.
yeah, hashtag Sony. Well, stop being a Sony
Them,
pony. No, I'm
them
kidding.
Costco prices
Yeah,
for the
yeah, yeah,
controllers
yeah,
can
yeah.
be murdered too, for sure.
Joy
Because
freaking
like
Nova.
Look,
you
at
can
least,
get like special deals. Oh, go
yeah.
ahead.
I was gonna say, at least you got a hot dog with your Costco controller, though.
Ayo.
Yeah, get the $1.50 hot dog and a drink. You can't get better. Even though I will say the chicken
Oh,
bake is the way to
True.
go.
I'm
True.
down with their pizza.
I don't think I've ever
I
Oh,
had
the
the
chicken
pizza.
pizza.
meal with the
It's
poutine.
delicious.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Yeah, but I live in
Wait,
like
they
the
have
Metro
poutine
New
there?
York area. I feel if I get Costco
Oh,
pizza, like my ancestors are gonna come up to me and be like, "Buddy."
fine. You have a point.
Yeah, but yeah. Our next topic. Yeah, there was a time when open world games felt like an event. Now, kind of feels like a checkbox. Every major release, massive map, dozens of icons, hundreds of hours of content. And at first, that sounds amazing. Well, then you start playing, and you realize a lot of that content can feel the same. Same missions, same objective, potentially different location. And I think that's where this question comes in. Are open worlds still special? Or have they become the fault? Or have they become the default? Because when everything is open world, nothing seems to stand out. Sauce, I'm going to start with you because I can.
Absolutely, do I think I mean MMOs, not MMOs, but open worlds are special. At the day and age that we live in, there are multiple type of things that we can actually like gain off of um, open worlds. When it comes to Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, this is a great example because its open world is not only vast, but it has so many capabilities that you can do: blacksmithing, bartering, stuff like that, and also because of the technology that we have right now, we can actually alter the choices that we choose when it comes to games like Kingdom Come Deliverance. And instead of actually going into one specific path, we can bend the path that allows us to actually make our own story and twist and turn things. You know what I mean? And that's just a breath of fresh air because as a person that's played things like Grand Theft Auto and other stuff, I've been a big Grand Theft Auto player ever since I was a kid. It always felt like even though there was so much to do in Grand Theft Auto, you always had to follow like a path, like a straight path. There was no like bent to that path. You always had to just follow every mission until it got to the end. With Deliverance 2, it feels like it's twisting and turning those paths for your enjoyment. You know what I mean? And not only that too, but like even something like Where Winds Meet is a breath of fresh air too, because it invites you to not only experience this beautiful like Souls-like gameplay, but have it like open world as well, and have like different roles and multiplayer. It's just, I think open world is at a good thing right now.
Before I pass it off, I just have one, I don't want to say follow-up question for you because the games you mentioned, I don't disagree. Well, Where Winds Meet, I could take or leave. I've put a couple hours into it. But Kingdom Come is another one that I think is really interesting because the follow-up question I have for you is, do you think those games are good because of their open world? Or do you think those games are as good as they are because of their choose your own adventure aspects?
I think the game is good because it allows us to portray our own adventure.
Mm.
It allows us to choose what we want. If I wanted to, I could literally stop the first like I can break off from the original storyline and try to go find my lost dog or my like or a book that what was it called or my partner who basically flaked off on me. I could actually choose whether or not I can go and do sub quests or follow the main quest and continue off that. I feel like I can build my own character.
Mhm.
I feel like I could build my own. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No. There's nothing to apologize for. I don't. I don't want to say I don't think you're wrong or anything like that. I just it's one of those things where it's interesting to me because I don't think we technically have like like I feel like those games ironically like we don't have a different category for them, but they should almost be in a different category when it comes to it. I'm not saying they're not open world games, but I feel like the term open world is more referring to just the map than rather uh the content in said game as well. And I think personally, like again, as someone who really enjoys, I haven't played Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 yet. I played the first one. That felt more like a choose your own adventure that happened to have an open world, and it had an open world because you had to choose your own adventure. But yeah, no, awesome. Thank you for that, Sauce.
Yeah, for sure.
Tess, let's jump on over to you.
Well, it would help if I would stop typing my commands in your chat.
I mean, I could just also
well-
add those commands.
Yeah, mod me. Um,
All right. Yeah.
well, I tried to shout out Sauce earlier in your chat, like in the shared chat. I was like, why
does
isn't
it for
this
both.
working?
It does it
And I
for
was like,
mine
wait.
too when you do it.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
No, it's fine. It's fine because I mean I was gonna shout him out anyway. So
Thank you
I
both for
kinda
doing
like
it.
I was like, you're not here, so we have to.
Content density is
to
why
share
Breath of the
you.
Wild felt way different than Assassin's Creed game, for example. That is, I actually had that same issue, not issue, but like the same thing with Breath of the Wild was that it, not that it felt empty, it just felt like the density of it was like different for an open
Oh.
world, right?
Oh, so y'all didn't like the content density in Breath of the Wild. See, that's where we differ because I like being able to just kind of walk around and pick up my shit without having like mobs all over me or like a side quest or
True.
humans that I need to talk to every 3 seconds.
Point.
Now there is such a thing as too empty. But I do really enjoy Breath of the Wild. Now, Tears of the Kingdom is where my asterisk in this comes in because of the fact that both the sky and the Underdark, that's not the right word for it. That's the that's the BG3 word for it. But anyway, the dark side feel really empty without the content of like pick things, like able to forage things or quests or mobs. And I'm like, I'm just walking around in a lot of empty nothing in the Gloom Galore region, literally. But then I think that there are some games that do the like semi-open world or like choose your own adventure style really well, like Hollow Knight. There's not as much of the choose your own adventure feel to me in Silksong as there are in Hollow Knight. But that is like a 2D platformer open world to me. Which I really enjoy, but then you come into these like open world games that Nintendo has put out for the last couple Pokemon games. I'm like, Bestie, that's not an open world if I have to go through some weird little like loading gate to get to it. So pros and cons, I don't necessarily think that it's like the bare minimum for me to be like, oh, this game has to be open world to be good. Do I expect an open world from games like Legends of Aincrad and Fable? Yes. Do I expect an open world from games like, Yoshi? No. It would be kind of silly if Yoshi had an open world game. Would I see Nintendo trying to do it? Yes. But that doesn't mean they should. And my last thought on like the open world situation is I was kind of like in the no completely boat until Sauce had said the thing about GTA 6 because I loved being able to do Mario Kart World in open world mode. as somebody who often does not have friends to race,
Oh no.
before streaming, before I like came to streaming and met all of y'all, I didn't know anybody else with a Switch 2, so it was just me and my partner who was at work, or playing Halo afterwards, and my best friend who I have recently taught how to use a controller. Um, and so I was like, "Oh, Mario Kart? Perfect."
Oh, that's phenomenal. But yeah, no, like, yeah, test life is a highway. I love that.
I want to ride it all
The really
night long.
true like sign of an only child is being like, I can entertain myself in Mario Kart now.
Yeah. But Chaos putting out there, most sandbox games are being pushed into the open world category. Yeah. Ritter, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are a prime example of open world doesn't mean better game. I think Scarlet and Violet, unfortunately, are the prime example of a lot of things not necessarily meaning better game. But I digress with that. But yeah, yeah, Arceus was pretty good. I just didn't like having to catch like 900 of the same thing. It was like I don't want to complete these tasks. I just want to do the game. But I
Would you
digress with
count
that.
Legends?
Was a
Go ahead.
roll monster. Terrible.
But hold on, what was that, Sauce?
Would you count Legends of ZA to be an open world? Because like even though I have not played it, I've seen people actually like talk about it and everything, and they said that the world is no bigger than the town itself. You know what I mean?
I'll be honest
So
with you. I tested you play ZA because I didn't, so I have no idea if it's open world or not.
I saw that ZA was like what, $80 for 7 hours of a gameplay story, and I said, no, thank you.
Yeah.
Catch me not buying that.
Yeah, I haven't bought a Pokemon game since Sword and Shield.
same.
Because I was like, and ironically, it's because of the DLCs. When they were like, "Oh yeah, if you want to get more Pokemon and more content, buy this." It's $15 for this island and $15 for this island, and I went, or I can just not play Pokemon anymore. So that's what I did. So yeah. But before we go into a Nintendo and Pokemon rant, Zeno, what about you? Open worlds.
For me, I've always been open world fan. Like I think like my starter was probably Morrowind or there was this other game, can't remember the name, older, similar to Morrowind and stuff back on the PC, but oh no. It was like World of Warcraft kind of. Point is yeah, I mean open world definitely makes like if the game like Tess was saying, if the game should be open world, like Yoshi's Island. Yoshi game. I just don't see that as an open world thing. Like, how much how much enjoyment am I really gonna be able to get from an open world Yoshi game? However, there are things like Mario Sunshine. See, that was handled correctly as a sort of open world Mario game because it really segued off of like the N64 or the Mario 64 style of things, where you go into an area, you start a mission, you go out, and there's like various areas. But obviously, it was just the castle that you could go in. But like more modern things, I'm not even gonna bring up wins really because it's just sort of like one of those, you know, you see these types of free to play games a lot on like the phone and stuff. So it tends to just be it tends to just look like one of those games a lot of the time when you look at it from just like the outside and you're like, oh yeah, this is just like one of those games. It's open world. It's decently beautiful, but it's built in a more of a mobile style gameplay. You're going for your draw systems for your gacha, which is your cosmetics, and then you're doing missions that not necessarily are like well thought out. It's sort of just like, here, more content, keep playing, keep playing. The story is good, but then the rest of the filler content tends to be like, oh, I just need to go and complete through this. I just need to go and complete through this. And when it starts to feel like that, it starts to feel like the world is empty, but it feels like the world has no soul. You know what I'm saying? And like the thing about Breath of the Wild was like it's not that it was empty for me. It was that and I 100% of that game. So like I loved that game. I loved Breath of the Wild when especially it was like one of the first Switch games I ever played. Um but then you started to see games like Genshin Impact coming out, right? And they're like, "Oh, no, like we can just do this. It's free." And they basically copied the Breath of the Wild style. A lot of games since then have copied that style. Like Arc Knights Enfield, Honkai Star Rail, like a lot of these games really were all in this category of we're open world by identity, but we're not open world by function, if you would, because it's all curated. It's like a smoke screen in a sense. It is open world, but you still need to go to these places and do these things and these specific things that I need you to do to make sure that this goes in this way and that goes in that way. Things like Elden Ring that was mentioned. That's one of the greatest examples of turning a linear style Souls game into an open world while keeping its initial identity.
Yeah, no, again, I don't disagree with any of these points. Like, especially like Elden Ring was phenomenal. Before I like bring up a couple of things, I do want to point in here. Like, I want to see if there was anything else in chat. Don't want to do that. Just want Black Ninja Spider. Someone mentioned Hogwarts Legacy is an open world. It's a glorified hub world like Peach's Castle in 64. I'm gonna be honest. That's the reason I pointed out is that's hilarious, and B, games like that are kind of where I feel like they're doing open world right, because it's open world ish, where like as an example, Hogwarts Legacy we can bring up, there is multiple areas in Hogwarts Legacy and you have to go through the storyline in a linear fashion because you go through all 4 seasons of the school year. But when you're in each season, you can do whatever you want in that area. You don't even have to follow the main quest line. If you're in the Hogwarts Castle, you can go anywhere you want in the Hogwarts Castle. If you're in the Hogsmeade, you can go anywhere you want in Hogsmeade. And there's like, it's more interesting to me to do something like that, because if you just give like, I'm gonna call them out right now. If we have the Ubisoft game and the games that are like them, where it's like you just walk in, you could do whatever you want, and you could do anything you want at any time. Eventually, you're going to sit there, and at first it's great. Oh, I can take over this town, or I can, do this little quest. And what kind of seems to happen is you're doing the same thing over and over again, where it's like, oh, okay, I took over. Where was the one that like the last one where it's like Far Cry, whichever the last number is. Well, I did this, but I did it with a flamethrower. And now I have to do this, but I have to do it with a machine gun. And I go over here, I may be doing it with a machine gun, but now those guys have pistols instead of, like shotguns. And it's like, oh my God, I'm doing the same thing over and over and again. And it's funny too, because like a couple of weeks ago or a couple of months ago said, and I really enjoyed it. I loved Avatar, the Avatar game, what was it? Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, for the storyline. I hated the open world because once you got into the open world, you were playing Far Cry as a Na'vi. And I don't want to play Far Cry as a Na'vi. I want to play the Avatar game. But I think that there are too many, personally, open world games that are just doing it for the sake of being, we have it, we're going to throw it out there. Look how many hours we have in our content. Look at how much it costs us to throw it. Like, you're getting, 300 hours of content if you try and 100% our game, and you're only paying $60. So we're actually doing you a favor. It doesn't matter that 200 hours of that content is the same exact thing with the reskin. not to blow smoke up its ass anymore, but I really enjoyed Crimson Desert. And I think Crimson Desert is another example of a linear-ish open world game where there's certain areas you can go to only if you progress the story. But once you progress the story, you can do whatever the hell you want in that thing. There's another streamer and friend, Zach X Feast. He's been playing Crimson Desert. It's phenomenal. I want to say he's on like chapter 3, and he has more hours in that game on the 3rd chapter than I do beating the entire main storyline of that game. And it's just really interesting because like that is how much content there is in it. I will probably never even see 80% of it. And I'm okay with that, because if someone wants to go off the beaten path, the entire thing, like, you can live in that world. That is the Skyrim of this generation. And I think Skyrim, in my opinion, is probably the last great open world game, because I have played Skyrim for, when did Skyrim first come out? Like, feels like 20 years ago now. It's probably not that long, but it's probably also not that short. I do not think I have completed a single main storyline quest in Skyrim, and I have like 75 hours in that game. Like, I've moved into Skyrim, and I'm great, and I'm okay with that. It came out 11/11/11. Oh, sorry. Starfield was the worst proponent of, in theory, endless, in reality, very limiting. Yes, 100%. Or trying to copy games like Horizon Zero Dawn open world, but not understanding why the success of it hit off. Yes, that I think is the reason where personally I don't give a damn. Like, when a game says that it's open world, I almost tune out a little bit, where I'm like, that's not a selling point to me, because the reason that they're copying these open world games are not the reason that it's good. You know, you're copying, like, oh yeah, like Genshin Impact. I'm not saying anything against Genshin Impact, but Genshin Impact copying Breath of the Wild and those things, it didn't just copy it to make a carbon copy and be like, well, we copied it because it's good. Or I should say, we copied it because we could make a copy. They copied it and then did their own little thing. Whether you think that thing is good or not is your own personal opinion. But the amount of clones that come out for all of these things, specifically open world, where I'm like, I don't care. I would rather a great linear story than just sitting there going, go ahead, choose your own adventure, have fun. I'm not saying that those aren't good every now and then, but I don't want that to be every single game I play. And then Black Ninja Spider's in there. I have so many hours in that. I'm assuming Skyrim and Fallout 4. Never finished the main story in either one of them. I may or may not have finished the main story in Fallout 4. I don't remember what the story in Fallout 4 is. I've also modded the hell out of most of my games. But that's just me. Before we move on to our next topic, anyone have any final thoughts?
Nope, good to go.
All right. Good to go? Great. So, whether a game is massive or tightly focused, there's one moment that matters more than anything else, and that's the beginning. The first hour of a game is doing a lot of work now. It has to hook you, it has to teach you, it has to impress you, and it has to convince you not to drop it for the hundreds of other things that are either out or on your backlog. I think that pressure has changed how games are designed. Some games come out swinging, fast, exciting, immediate, and others take their time. And the problem is, we don't always have the patience we used to. Especially now with refund windows, constant releases, and limited time, the question becomes, are games failing to hook us, or are we just quicker to walk away? Tess, I don't think I've started with you yet, so I'm going to start with you.
We're quicker to walk away. 100%. The attention span of the average person is less than 7 seconds now. You have to hook somebody in 3 seconds in a marketing ad. and you have to impress them 4 different times before they'll actually click on something, which is insane compared to what it was pre-COVID, pre-TikTok. TikTok ruined. Like, TikTok shorts, reels ruined the attention span of the modern people. And that's true for gaming too. I mean, most people, hello.
Sorry.
Doom scrolling is an ender. It's
Yeah,
for sure,
Yeah,
I
no, it
can
really
tell you.
is. I think we could probably start an improv troupe and we would be okay. But I mean, you know, I'm guilty of it too, though, because if I don't like the graphics, the sound quality, the image quality, the like load speed of whatever it is now, whether it be a game or a video, I'm like, okay, I'm out. Like, do you guys remember the days when like we would have to stare at the computer whenever dial-up happened? And it was longer than like a few minutes for that to happen. Now, if
Having to
I
listen
my
to that noise.
right, uh, but now if my web page doesn't load in like 3 seconds, I'm refreshing it to see if it'll load faster if I refresh it, which is never how that works. But it's true for games too. Like, if you come in with a game and the tutorial doesn't, you know, immediately teach me how to do something, yeah, probably out. Which is why I think it's so hard for people to get into Hollow Knight if they don't know that they're supposed to be lost for the first hour of the game.
Yeah.
Because that really, yeah, you're not given a tutorial, you don't know what to do, and you know, you're just kind of this little guy wandering around in a death-filled basement, being like, "Where is my money?" So that's my thought on things, but at the same time, like, cozy games, I mean, I will play those to no end, and it's, you know, the same thing over and over for hours on end. So I think it just kind of depends on the genre, because a cozy game is going to give you a really long tutorial. Basically, the first 10 hours of Animal Crossing is a tutorial. Because you don't have everything unlocked until you're done with that. So, you know, I think it depends on what kind of games you're playing.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. We've got a lot of comments in the chat too. Where's one that I loved. Where did it go? There was one. Yakuza 0 opens with basically an hour and a half cutscene. Thankfully, there's a break where you sing karaoke. Yeah, and that's and I think that also falls into like what you're saying as well, Tess, where it's like these, you know, you never know what you're going to get into when it comes into it, or it's like you either get really hooked or you know, with like so much action and so much things to do, or it's Hollow Knight, where you have to find and create those own things to do, which is neither one are a bad thing. I just I wonder too, and I think it's a really interesting point you brought up with like the average person's attention span nowadays being like 7 seconds or less, which is so problematic. But like, I wonder like if refund windows, like, I don't want to say is Steam the problem, but if refund windows like they have, where it's like, okay, you could play this for 2 hours, and it, like, or up to 2 hours and get a refund. If that wasn't the case, I wonder if we wouldn't even be having this conversation as is, because there's plenty of times where it's like, if we talk about like older games or games like, I don't know, for lack of a better term, I grew up with, Like if I played the first Ninja Gaiden and I only got to play it for like a couple of hours, I probably would have like thrown the cartridge back and been like, I don't want to play this anymore. This is a bad game. I'm dying too much. Like as opposed to like the entire point of that game is like you'll get good scrub. Uh, it's yeah, it's, for lack of better terms, it's the Dark Souls of NES games. But like Dark Souls is another great example where it's like, I wonder how many people would have sat there if the refund windows we like are used to and the things that we are used to now, where it was just like, oh, I'm dying too much, or like the first enemy killed me. This is a bad game. I'm gonna send it back. So it's interesting to think of. And Zeno, from what I can see, you've got some comments you want to go on. So I would love to point up to you next. I think you're muted, my friend.
I get what the topic is, but I feel like I missed the question. What exactly? Because I was just locked into you guys' explanations. So
No,
I just
yeah, not a problem. Like for lack of better term, like the topic, it's do we like is there a problem with like the first hour of games people like jumping away too soon, or like even if you just like is there what makes you walk away from a game within that first hour kind of a thing too?
Yeah. Okay, I got you. Well, so I'll give one example of walking away very early, and then an example of something that if you walk away too early and it gets better later on and you feel like you missed out because you walked away too early. So there's walking away early on games like that get a bad rep, for example. So like a lot of people will like be like, oh I didn't like Veilguard, or Veilguard's gonna fail because of this and this and that, and people who wanted to just play it because of the story, that it was a continuance to a previous loved title. They just wanted to play the game without the hate around it, right? But the hate can sometimes just gets in your head a little bit. Even if you really want to enjoy the game, you can't help but already see the flaws that other people have seen, because you get those reviews that are already like pre-done before the game comes out. I tend to avoid those now, simply because it can ruin my initial going in perception. That's why I try to go blind. An example of a game like that would be Veilguard, but another example would be, even if I just had to pick right off the top of my list right now. Uh, let's go Marathon. Marathon. I played a good 6 to 8 hours of Marathon. I was like, this isn't it. This is Apex. Sorry. Like for me, it was
Mhm.
Apex. There was nothing about it that allowed me to latch onto. There was nothing about it that I couldn't get from another game or another title. It was already doing something like that. And then there's games like Cyberpunk, who you drop it early because of broken systems, which by all means, it
Yeah.
was a terribly broken game, and I played it on PS4. Um, but obviously, over time, this game has become quite a decent, like, you still get glitches in an open world like that, especially with the verticality and the amount of assets that are running and scripting of it. And but Cyberpunk is a good example of a game that you walk away too early and then you come back and you're like, wow, what did I miss? Why is
Yeah.
this game like all of a sudden good? Same goes for things like No Man's Sky. It didn't even have character models when the game started. The game came out, no character models. You were basically represented as like a little orb on the screen. Then they came out with character models, multiplayer, and the rest is history. Like, I mean, Sean Spencer is absolute diabolical. We'll be sitting there like, oh, guess the updates are done. Guess we just can sit with this. 2 weeks later, new update, right? All free, mind you, right? So it makes you just kind of wonder, um, whether it's the longevity of games, or it's like the attention span of like, does this hook me? Does the story hook me instantly? Does the gameplay hook me instantly? Uh, and like Tess was saying, attention span has changed a lot. So and that trickles over into games. It trickles over into all types of media. They've even said this with Netflix and stuff, right? Like the way that they pick scripts, and they pick playwrights, or what's the name of it? Uh, Screenplays. The way they pick their screenplays out is based off of how much can this how much can you explain with the person watching their phone. Like if
Yeah.
I watch a Netflix show, like how much can I do while scrolling? and still listen and understand what the show is saying. So that's why a lot of the media gets revolved around the attention span because we're always on our phones.
On that note, not super relevant, but that's why whenever I'm watching subbed anime, I know the story a whole lot better than any dubbed anime I'm watching, because as soon as I'm watching a dubbed anime, I'm like, I can pick up my phone and look at my social medias and text my friends back.
Oh, right. You guys are still at the age where you could watch things without subtitles, even in English. Got it.
I watch sub most of it because of the actual translation. A lot of the time it changes.
Yes.
Right.
Sorry, what were you saying? Sauce, you were gonna say something?
No, I agree. Like sometimes it's a lot more like in depth when it comes to like sub and dub. Because like when I try watching Reincarnated as a Slime, it, sometimes there's just some things that are missing on dub than there is subbed. You know what I mean?
Really?
I just
Watch that one dubbed. Sorry, this is
And a lot of it too is like it's and this kind of like it's not really relevant, but at the same time it is an attention span thing. Like if I'm watching or playing an anime game, for example, right? And I go in and I'm like, you know what, I'll throw it on English. You know, shouldn't be that bad. And it's not the it's I used to think when I was younger it's the voice actors. That's the problem. No, it's the voice actors. No, it's the script. It's the script because they're trying to read directly translated things without properly outpolating idioms and or sayings and whatnot. They're directly using localization, which I understand that, but it comes up to the actual writer to be like, okay, how do I portray this message, what he's saying right here, in English, without warping the actual sentence and it meaning something completely different because of sometimes it's emotion that gets thrown out the window. Squid Game was a big example of that. A lot of people didn't understand what was going on even in English, and when it was explained from an actual person who understood the language, they were like, "Yeah, no, this is what they really mean." And like, I guess that goes for a lot of games when it comes to like hooking me in. Like, I want to be able to relate to the characters. I want to be able to do that. Where if I just have a flat character, no emotion, it can really ruin the experience almost immediately for some people. That's why a lot of people don't play those foreign games, even though they tend to end up having really good gameplay, really good story, and it just gets lost in that translation too. But yeah, that's really it on that topic.
Cool.
Oh,
Sauce,
there's
what about
lot
you?
of messages.
Yeah.
I think when it comes to games, it's funny that you actually like the last probably 30 minutes that that our friend Despero had before he had to go to work, he helped me actually understand this exact question. And I think when it comes right down to it, it really does depend on not only the intrigue of what the person has, but also the time that we actually have until we can actually bring like we can return said game. You know what I mean? For a person that grew up with Kojima games, god damn are they long. God, are Kojima the games long. Guns of the Patriot,
Eh.
literally, don't get me started.
Are the
Like
games long or are the cutscenes long?
the cutscenes,
Yeah.
the cutscenes. Forgive me. The
Yeah.
cutscenes are so long that it literally takes you like so much time before you could even just say I want to return my money. It's already too late.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like you haven't even gotten to play the game yet, and the cutscene is like only 15 minutes in. You know what I mean? And another 30 minutes in, and it's like, when do I get to play the game? You know what I mean? It's like it's not only that, but Guns of the Patriot, Dead Stranding, a lot of those games, they're very cutscene heavy. You know what I mean? They very are. But my other source of intrigue when it comes to this is, when can you find intrigue in a video game that allows you to explore said world? And for me, Final Fantasy 14 is one of those games. It does take a while for you to actually get invested into it. In fact, a lot of people don't get invested into to 14 until after A Realm Reborn.
Mhm.
A lot of people tend to stray away from A Realm Reborn stuff because it's not as good as Heaven's Ward or Stormblood, but there are some people that actually appreciate it because of the fact that there are there's beautiful story material to it. If you're not interested in the story material, then I can honestly see you not wasting your time playing something like Final Fantasy 14 or like also you played Minecraft for not Minecraft, I'm sorry, World of Warcraft. I was dead, I apologize, for a while. And would you say that the story intrigued you for staying for how long that you stayed when it came to something like that MMO?
I think in the beginning, yes. I think ironically, like towards the end, there was also a little bit of Stockholm syndrome, where it was I've put God knows how many. Well, I started World of Warcraft with the closed beta, and went through Dragonflight. So that is longer than probably some of my viewers have been alive. But yeah, like I'll be honest with you, I think when it first started, between World of Warcraft, the vanilla, through Wrath of the Lich King, it was the most invested I was ever in that game for the lore, because it was a direct sequel and conclusion to the Warcraft 3 and the Frozen Throne RTS games. So if you wanted to see how those games ended, you had to play a completely different game in a completely different category, and it was phenomenal. And I'm not saying, well, Cataclysm was kind of bad, but the other expansions that were out there, like I love Mists of Pandaria, and like there's a lot of great stuff from there. But I also personally think that there are so many people currently playing the game less for what the game is about and more for what the game can do for them in terms of the rating, the gear, the for lack of a better term, the community when it comes to like mythic dungeons and things like that. I would honestly be not surprised at all if 80% of WoW players did not know or care what was actually going on, and they were just skipping quests to try and get to end game raids, dungeons, and mythic.
What I was saying about wins.
Yeah,
That's basically what it becomes after a while when you catch up with things. You're just like, oh, now I'm just doing things, run of the mill.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many hours I've literally been inside a trial or basically a boss dungeon, and literally spend almost 3 or 4 hours just for somebody to get a horse whistle mount.
Yeah.
Just for that. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, and like again, not to turn this into the MMO portion of our stream, but like that, like I was definitely like this is just how I am with like any game. If I'm playing it for the first time, like I need storyline, I need lore. Like I was the guy that they'd be sitting there and being like, hey, like I want like hey, like we gotta go. I'm like, no, the cutscene's still going. I don't know why we're fighting this boss. I wanna learn more about him. And it's like, who cares? Kill him, get loot. And I'm like, but I want to know why I'm killing him. You know, the majority I think of people don't do that. And ironically, I was going to also bring up WoW when it comes to like the first hour thing, because there's a little bit of back and forth where I think people who didn't have people who tried it because they were back in the day the EverQuest converts, I think I mentioned this on stream before, and I know I've told Tess this story before if it wasn't on stream or on the podcast, was the welcome bear, where if you're not World of Warcraft people, you may or may not have heard of the welcome bear. The welcome bear was and still is one of my favorite things, where if you started as a brand new undead character and you were told and the quest leads you through the Gale and you're supposed to go to the right and meet all of these characters, but since it is technically an open world MMO type game, you could veer off to the left. And if you did that, it was this dark and spooky area, and you're like, well, I want to see what's over there. And you, as your level 1 character, would go over there, and what would you get? You'd get a level 60 bear that would come out and maul you immediately. And it was lovingly referred to as the welcome bear, where it's like, what the hell happened? And it's like, that bear's just welcoming you to the game. Yes, it's killing you. Don't worry. Go to the right. Stop going to the left. But a lot of people... Yeah, but a lot of people would not, that weren't used to MMOs, didn't understand that, so they would keep trying to kill the bear, not understanding that there's like level gaps and you're not supposed to kill that bear until like that is an end game area, and then they would give up, which is just hysterical as is. I am really, like one of the reasons I picked this topic too was because I flipped a coin and it was one of the topics it landed on, but B, no, I really think about this a lot, because for those of you who have not, who may be coming into this podcast from some of like other host channels, I do a series called Beat My Backlog, where I play for anywhere between 2 and 4 hours a brand new game every time I go on stream, to give first impressions of it, of something that I basically never played in either like my PC or Steam library. And I like it because I think in that first like 2 to 3 hour window is where you really are going to decide if this is a game for you. And it's really interesting because, like, as some of us have mentioned, there are games like that, like Kojima is like a perfect example. I like Kojima's games. I don't like streaming Kojima's games a lot because there is not a lot to do in Kojima games. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but like, I tried to stream Metal Gear Solid 5. I don't know what not Metal Gear Solid 5, Metal Gear Solid 3, the remake, the Delta.
Snake Eater.
Yes, Snake Eater, thank you. I don't know what the hell was going on in there, like trying to figure it out. And then when chat was like, oh, what's going on? Like, what just happened? Like, why is he shooting lightning? It's like, bro, I'm seeing this just with you. I don't have any other answers. And then we played for about 2.5 hours. And I think I moved 30 to 45 seconds of that, where it's just, it's incredibly cutscene heavy. Now, having been able to play that and finish it off stream, it was great. It was a lot of fun, but it's really interesting to sit there and see, like, am I going to, like, can I recommend, is this something that I would recommend? Because like it's almost like books. If like trying to recommend a book, like, oh yeah, I finished the first like 10 chapters of a 30 chapter book. Would I tell somebody to potentially pick this up and buy it? And it's interesting because again, like I play it for that 2 hour or more, ironically, because it's out of the refund window. Now, I'm way out of my refund window with all of these games, but Beat My Backlog is basically, in my head, the whole concept was, if I was buying this game for the first time as a new player, would I refund it? And can I sit there and say, if you're going to buy it, should you? I'm basically doing that refund window for you. That's my concept when it comes down to it. And there's some games that it's like, I can thoroughly recommend. Like, I only have 95 minutes in Pragmata. I can 100% say that if you like Resident Evil, it's now, mind you, it's not scary, but if you like the gameplay of the Resident Evil remakes, if you like Dino Crisis, if you like Horizon Zero type games, you're gonna enjoy Pragmata. If you like storyline heavy games, you'll like Pragmata. In 95 hours, or 90, yeah,
Scared to play that game.
give it a go. Oh, it's great. I don't even like children, and I'm sitting there going, I am going to protect this small AI child with my life. I will die for this AI. And I can tell you I have strong feelings on real AI, but that one, do not take that from me. But that's the thing
And
where
this
it's
is
like,
how,
yeah,
like,
this is how it
Humanity
starts.
is.
Yeah. I'll start Skynet for that small child.
The
but-
world will come crashing down
Yeah.
for this AI child.
Yeah. She's protecting me, I will protect her. It's a phenomenal game, and I cannot wait to see where it goes. But it's really interesting to me because, again, like, I can recommend these things within that like first hour, and I almost want to do a follow-up on our next and by podcast where we sit there and go, we've talked about the first hour, let's talk about games that we thought we could recommend because of those like first 2 hours that then completely came crashing down. Yeah. Also, again, if you guys, I'm not going to sit there and tell you to buy Pragmata, but I am. But it has a free demo if you want to try it as well, so you don't even have to spend any money to try this game. Shut up and take its money. But yeah, it's really interesting though, because I never feel like I can give a full review of something unless I finish it. And ironically, I have so many games right now, I haven't finished a lot of them. But like, that is the second part of Beat My Backlog, where it's like, those of you who may be in the Discord server, there's the whole channel on there. Eventually, I promise that when I finish a game that I started on Beat My Backlog, I will give the full opinion on it. There's so many games. But I don't know what it takes for me to get stuck with it, because there are games that have just been plenty of cutscenes and I will sit there and watch it and I will love it and go, yeah, everyone should try this. There are games that sit there and are nothing but like action, adventure, and I go, well, this sucks. And then there's other ones where I'm like, well, I don't know. For me, like, I don't know what it takes to hook me. Like, I know what I like. I know that there are games that should have hooked me based on what I like. Like the last one I played, the what was it? Monochrome Mobius. I don't know if I'm gonna play it again. And it has I love turn-based combat. I love JRPGs. I love, in theory, everything about this game. It's got a good story. It's got I just sit there and someone asked me, they were like, oh, should I buy it? And I went, I don't know, but it's 70% off. So like, there's worse ways to spend $15. Try it. And if you don't like it, refund it. And I'm like, am I the problem now? A little bit. Yeah. Thank you, Tess. Yeah, if ChatGPT started to surprise me with paintings I can hang on my fridge, I might switch to the side of Skynet way too fast. You know what? Fair. Oh no, the reason for that is, Tess, I see your face. There is a I don't want to spoil anything about this game, but the little girl is an AI. I don't think that is a spoiler. It's been widely known in a lot of the like
I have no intention of playing the game. So this is more of a spoiler warning for anybody in chat who doesn't want spoilers.
Oh yeah, well there's and again it's not storyline thing, but since she is a small child, at one point she draws pictures for you because she's drawing pictures that you can then hang on the quote unquote, it's not the fridge, but you can hang in like areas of the game. And it's funny because like I saw it, I don't remember, it must have been on Threads. It was either Threads or Instagram because it was the only social media I have. And someone just sat there and was like, oh great, more AI slop art from, and I was like, oh, that's actually kind of funny. But it's like, it also is like not to go too deep, but someone was like, well, that's a thought experiment too, because she actually created it. So it's created with AI, but she drew it. And it's like, all right, we're going to stop here right now because I don't have time to think about this. I haven't had my coffee. But I'm trying to see if we saw anything or missing anything in the chat. Rather crawl up Mount Everest and start to learn League of Legends again. You know what? Fair. Looks like Zeno is getting raided. Awesome. And before we go on to our next and kind of last topic, do we have anyone else or any other thoughts on this? Going once. Going twice. All right, let's shift gears a little bit. Because this next segment is less about the industry and 100% more about us. It's confession time. What is a game or mechanic that everyone seems to love, but you just can't stand? No judgment, no fighting, just honesty. And you know what? For the first time on this podcast, I'm going to go first. Because I don't like deck building. I don't like deck builders. I don't like deck building games. I don't like them at all. And I know, like, I'm already seeing faces where people are sitting there like, wait, what? Look, I don't have any problem with card games in person. I have zero need and zero desire to play a digital card game. I've watched people play them. I'm glad they exist for the people who like them. But I think there are just better ways. Like, I love roguelites. I love roguelikes. And like Slay the Spire, I think is another like fun example where it's like, hey, oh, thank you, Super Professor. I don't personally care about them. But like when it comes down to it, I think that there's personally better mechanics when it comes down to it. Like if it was just like a regular turn-based game, I'd probably play it and try it. Like when it comes to like Balatro, I know that there's some people who love it. I know that there's some people who's obsessed with it. I played it once because a friend of mine had it on it might have been their Steam Deck, it might have been their computer. I couldn't care less. I was like, okay, it's a poker type game. Yeah, you'll get addicted. No, I won't. I promise. And I played like a couple of rounds, and I was like, okay, I beat it. What do I do now? And they're like, oh, you do it again. I was like, no, I beat it. He's like, yeah, but you could try it with a different deck. And I was like, I don't want to. I have no desire. And that's probably the worst example of somebody like when it comes to like a deck builder, when it comes down to it, because I also only gamble on horse racing. So I don't like going to casinos or anything like that. So it's like, this is not going to be the one to get me into it. I have tried Slay the Spire. I have tried Darkest Dungeon. I have tried so many. And like, I don't want to play a card game on my computer. If I want to play a card game, I'll go learn Magic the Gathering and go get in real life friends. And that also sounds fairly terrible. Not the Magic the Gathering, the in real life friends thing. Like, people are scary. But yeah, my personal nightmare would probably be Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Master. Bro, I don't understand that. Like, that's a whole different thing. Like Yu-Gi-Oh! The what's the one with the spinning top?
Beyblade?
The Beyblade. Like, I don't understand. Like, you kids and your thing. Like, it was the same thing. Like, I'm not gonna lie. When people are like, "Oh yeah, I play the Pokemon trading card game," I was like, "Why don't you just play Pokemon?" It's the same thing. Just play the Pokemon like video game.
You
You,
just
you
made 2 enemies.
what? You play like I don't get it. I don't understand. Let's just play Pokemon. You're just playing Pokemon, but with cards. It's the video game. Just play the video game.
But shiny
It-
cards.
I'm not saying the cards aren't cool. The cards look great. I don't understand why you're playing. Like, it doesn't need to be a game. Just make them trading cards. It's fine.
The cardboard. The
Yeah.
cardboard, man.
Yeah. Look,
Um,
I don't. Yeah, I don't get it. Sauce. What about you? What's something you just can't stand?
so
Yeah. Wait. Why did
there's-
Tess? Why did you point to yourself? I'm sorry.
Sorry, Sauce, go ahead.
Yeah. I was like, why can't
um,
Sauce stand
no,
you?
no, you're fine. You're fine. What? Wait, what? What happened?
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
No.
no.
No. You're good.
Okay. Okay. So for some people that know me, I play Ark Survival Evolved. I have played the heck out of that game to the point where I've literally seen an entire squad of people teabag or clam slam one specific person just because they could. And what the number one thing that I hate is modded servers. I don't mind them, but if there's something about modded servers that just get to me because of the fact that you can make a game so easier to play than than what it's supposed to be, and you can make your characters level up to high levels in like minutes. You know, I could be level 99 within the recourse of like 2 minutes if I just hit wood on a tree. If I just hit wood on a tree and just knock it down, I can instantly get level 99 like that. But there's no fun in it. There's no fun in catching a dino with just one berry, or getting a exotic or an ascendant rifle just so that I'll like through a common drop. You know what I mean? I appreciate people like taking the time to make these cool servers. And I admit that, you know, there aren't people like me that can spend hours on end playing Ark because they have jobs, they have lives that they need to live. You know what I mean? They got families. But when is it enough? You know, when is it modding enough to where you can have the right amount of enjoyment, but without sucking the fun out of enjoying the game? You know what I mean? That's my gripe. That's my peeve.
I mean, again, fair. I won't say that. I mean, I love mods, but I also have never played Ark. But now that you told me I can catch dinosaurs, I might have
I
to
agree wholeheartedly with you.
play that.
About Ark there. Definitely.
But Zeno, let's head on over to you. What is your gaming confession?
A lot of people probably not gonna like this one. Call of Duty. I don't get it anymore. I just don't get it anymore. It's Call of Duty. I guess you could say Call of Duty, 2K, those types of games. The repetition, the copy and paste, and the continual drive to sort of force gaming into that sort of, like, people are like, "Oh, why don't you play Call of Duty?" And I'm like, I cannot derive joy from it anymore. I can do it when I'm just like, like playing with the wife and whatnot, and just hanging out, playing zombies with some friends and stuff. But it's like it doesn't feel like that's all it is anymore, and it feels like it's almost like I have to play that game and that game only. Otherwise, I don't feel like I'm participating as much. You know what I mean? Because people are like, oh yeah, you can casually play Call of Duty for sure, but it takes up 200 fucking gigabytes on my system, right? I'm not going to casually play a game that's taking up taking up a third of my system's memory. But that's like, I don't, I see why people are like, oh, Call of Duty's a Call of Duty. It's gonna be like that for the forever. and they always try to hinge off of the niche people from like not niche people, but like I guess you'd say like the newer generation always constantly getting funneled into the Call of Duty games, right? And the 2K games and whatnot. Kind of the reason why there's a joke about PlayStation players not buying games and only playing Call of Duty and 2K or Madden or FIFA. And I mean, as much as a part of that is really is true, there are some metrics that do state that a lot of it is like that. But I can't stand playing it anymore. Like it just got to the point where it's like, am I just supposed to be angry all the time on this game? And it's like you try to play it chill, and you're just like, okay, I'm just gonna play it chill. I'm gonna go do some stuff with you, and then somebody just yells in your ear on your teammates and like screeches, and you're like, oh, okay, so it's serious. It's serious. We're playing in the big leagues right now, like on quick play right now. That's what we're doing. We're not even playing ranked, and the screeching in your ear, and it's like it's not that all other games don't have this level of stuff, but it's almost like it's part of it now. They're quite aware that it goes on, but it's part of it now. And then the cheaters. There's the cheaters, and there's that. Yeah, all gaming has cheating, but just seems at this point that it's like do whatever you want because we don't care after the game's been out for a year.
Yeah.
And then Roblox, and I don't need to say anything more about Roblox. there are plenty of good reasons why Roblox. Yeah.
I'll trust you on that. I know that app exists. Tess, what about you? What is your gaming confession?
Well, I have two.
Okay.
And I'm about to overlap with a lot of y'all that are gonna not like this one. I don't give a rat's ass about sci-fi games. Do not put me on In Space. I'm not gonna play it. I don't care. And this is also I also
yeah.
just, like,
Zeno just left. yeah.
I know, I was like,
Yeah. He's
"It's
like,
okay, I
I'm a
lost."
fucking alien. Yeah.
He
Well, it's
gave
like-
me the biggest stare down not playing.
Yeah. So
Well, it's like, my partner, High-Key Chaos, plays primarily space games.
yeah.
And really enjoyed the stuff with NASA and Artemis 2, and I really could not even care. I like, cool, it's the moon from a new angle.
The moon.
Right. Which, like, I get it. Science, yes, we like that. I don't care. And then the other thing, with gaming. I know, Ace. I'm so sorry between you and Zeno.
But like again, no judgment. The question I have is you mentioned sci-fi specifically.
Yeah.
Is it real life, like space you don't care about, or like fictional space you also, or is it just like if it is not on our terrestrial planet or some sort of fantasy world, I don't give a shit. I don't care either way because, like, look, I'm not here to yuck anyone's yum, but as someone who I don't want to say also didn't care about, like, it's cool that they're going to the moon. It's not lightsabers, though.
Well, like, I really enjoy Star Wars. So,
Yeah.
But that's, like, the exception.
Okay.
Because of the fact that, like, Pragmata, watched it, really cool game, could not tell you a thing about the plot. Cutie little AI girly in cat suit. Space.
She's in a cat suit? I didn't
there's
get
a
that
cat
far.
suit available.
Oh, I gotta get that.
Yes.
Sorry.
A lot of suits.
Oh,
Yeah, a
wait.
lot of really
Oh,
cute
the cat
outfits.
suit's for the girl, not for me.
Yeah,
You know what? I'm
Right,
less
right.
interested.
Sorry.
Well, no, you also
Um,
get suits, I believe, too, for the astronaut.
See, yeah, but like I couldn't tell you what was going on. The half of Split Fiction that was the sci-fi space portion, I was like, yeah, I'm done. Get me out of here. Let's go back to Fantasyland. Um,
Fair.
and I don't know. I can't explain it. I that is on my anime homework to watch. And so I will be watching that this weekend. So yeah, space also be making people dizzy as hell. Anything that's first person, I'm dizzy.
You wanna make one?
I'm
Mm.
motion sick. But my other hot take, and this is where I'm gonna alienate Alto. And CB if he's listening. I don't like action roguelikes. There's too many things on the screen. I
You know,
can't keep
that
track
yeah,
of
that's
where
fair.
my player character is. Like Cult of the Lamb is like the exception to that because there's not so many enemies on the screen that I can't tell the weird pokey guys from my cute little lamb with a hat on. But like Vampire Slayer or like Vampire Survivor, that
Oh,
one,
that's
Hades is kind of pushing it. Where I'm like, I don't know where I am and I'm doing these like AoE attacks and I don't know what's going on.
Do you play
Yeah,
Vampire at all?
no.
No, yeah, it's a boring game, honestly. Cool.
Yeah.
Talking system, but that's about it.
Yeah, no, like I'm not going to disagree with you on that. Like that's for Vampire Survivor specifically. I play that because it is a dopamine simulator with all the bright shit that's going on screen. I don't give a shit if I die. Like that is my I've got 15 minutes to kill. Let's see what I can get in this run. But I won't disagree with you either that there is a lot of action RPG or action roguelites that are just so much going on where it's like, I love Hades and I love Hades too. But there's a lot of other where I'm like, I can't, like, the amount of times I have died because I didn't realize I was standing in the bad. I won't disagree with you on that. That's not something I will, but disagree with you on, like, no. Like if you had sat there and said like I cannot stand turn-based RPGs, I would have ended the podcast like right now. Do not. Nope.
I'm
Nope.
putting the
Nope.
asterisk there.
No. Yeah.
Baldur's Gate 3 has changed my mind on this.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
there's a lot going on the screen on both sides for that one.
Yeah.
And like Ace said, I get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I am like the orange cat of humans. I am shrimp. I have one brain cell. Too many things and I'm out. I'm the loading symbol.
Yeah, no,
I do have.
Oh, go ahead,
Go ahead.
Sauce.
I was gonna say, like, I do have to admit, when it comes to roguelikes, Binding of Isaac, I've never gotten into that game. I've never gotten into it. But
Yeah.
please go ahead.
Same. I don't get it. I like watching, you know what it is? It's so weird too. I like watching other people play it. Like the people who speed run it and things like that. It's fascinating, but I have zero desire to play it myself. And it should theoretically tick my boxes. It's a roguelite. It's RPG adjacent. It has religious style lore. For those of you who don't know, that's what my doctorates are in. And I sit there and look at it and I go, merp. Your test needs more RAM.
Facts. And sadly, that's too expensive right now.
Uh,
Hard to get. Too
yeah,
many
true.
AIs.
Can't
No
get all
human
them.
RAM, only
Yeah.
AI RAM.
Yeah, no, honestly, yeah.
I need to get extra for me.
I mean, and again, I don't disagree. Like, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Tried it with the roguelites Risk of Rain 2 when they released Risk of Rain Return. I've always wanted to try Risk of Rain. It looks fun. I'll probably add it to the backlog, but like yeah. Like there's a lot
It's
of
always on
things.
sale.
Yeah, there's a lot of things too where I'm like, I don't even know if it's one of those things where I'm like, it's a confession at this point. Like, or if it's just sitting there where I'm like, preferences. I mean, we all have them when it comes down to it, when it comes to gaming and things like that. But I'm like, I think like as far as my the only real like quote unquote gaming confession I have is, like I said, I hate deck builders. I don't understand why anyone would want to play with virtual cards. Physical cards exist. Go buy them. I also don't understand why sometimes you want to play with physical cards when there's digital games behind them. But again, that's just my brain. I don't get it. You guys do what you want to do. Just stop asking me to do it. And I think that's the best part when it comes down to it. If I,
I'll never ask you to play Yu-Gi-Oh! I swear.
yeah, like that's like, oh, what was, like, oh yeah, I like never gonna ask Zeno to play Call of Duty. Now, granted, I don't play Call of Duty, but like, it's not gonna happen. Like, but again, developers out there, if you definitely want to make sure at least 4 people never play your game, just make a deck building action roguelike that is based on Call of Duty, with my brain is just like blown up. I can't even want to do that. Like, we're just gonna go in space.
In space.
In space.
Yeah. Oh God help us.
That would be such a bad game. It would
Yeah.
be like Halo, but overwhelming.
Yeah.
An action roguelike card game, but in space.
But in space.
You know, the sad thing is we're gonna look tomorrow and there's gonna be a fucking Kickstarter for something where it's like, Space Latro.
Space Latro.
Yeah, patent pending.
You've heard of Halo.
Ritter
and
said
you've
take
heard of
Mr.
Slay
Deck
the
for
Spire.
Alto.
Oh
You
God.
heard of Balatro. Have you heard of its second cousin Spalatro?
Yeah. But yeah, I think this is a good time to head on over to our critical hits and misses. For those of you who may have never
Sauce? Did
wait.
Sauce get to say what?
Yeah, Sauce, you said what
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
test
I have the memory of a shrimp. The shrimp has
Oh.
struck again.
You're fine. You're fine.
Already
Thank you.
Don't worry, you can Tess, if you forgot what Sauce says, you can listen to this when this goes live again on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Audible Podcasts, Overcast, YouTube Podcasts, and wherever else your favorite podcasts are. Low-key sounds like Destiny without the deck building. I mean,
Straight into memory issues.
Destiny is just Halo if it happened on the moon. Just saying. But,
Also, you're making me think right now. You're making me like have that head a little bit. Wait a minute. Hold on.
yeah. Yeah, for those of you who have not listened to our podcast before, what critical hits and misses are is one thing from the past month that really worked in the world of gaming and something that just didn't. Sauce, since Tess doesn't remember that you speak, we're gonna start with you.
Could you repeat the question, please?
No problem. So, for critical
My
hit,
mind went off.
it's all good. Critical hit and or critical miss. So something either really great or something really bad or one of each in the world of gaming.
I think the reignited trilogy of Spyro was a critical hit. It was awesome. It was very good in my mindset. The voice acting, it could use work, but they did an awesome job recreating what Spyro was. There are very bad roguelike games that are out right now. I cannot for the life of me remember their names, but they really need to step up their game. They really, really do. I think it's called Crimson Keep. Yeah, Crimson Keep.
I haven't even heard of that one.
It's a very, very bad game.
Okay.
They tried their best, but it is not a good game.
That
I'm
is such a
sorry for
ringing
being-
endorsement. They tried.
I'm trying to be so nice, but then all of a sudden I just say trash. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
my
yeah.
bad. But like that's my honest feeling about that. But yeah, that's me. That's me.
No, that is hilarious. Yeah, I'm trying to be nice. It's fucking trash. Uh, Zeno, what about you? What is your critical hit and or miss?
Xenoverse 3
Oh, right, yeah.
was announced the other day. Xenoverse 3. I mean, that's not game. The other thing I was gonna say is not game, but Xenoverse 3, it looks gorgeous. It's exactly like, honestly, Bandai Namco, like they're on a roll with releases this last month. That goes for like anime, that goes for like gaming. People have been waiting for Xenoverse 3 since well before Sparking Zero. Xenoverse 2 has been out since what, 2015. So 2015? Yeah, 2015 or 2016, and they've just been getting update after update. So eventually, kind of have to retire that. But it's like one of the first like Sparking Zero was one of the first PS5 Dragon Ball games that we really got, like one of the really
Hmm.
good ones. But this one is like, now they've had time with the newer systems and like the newer graphics cards and newer gen systems, so then they're able to make a much larger game than Xenoverse 2 ever was. And then the critical miss would be, I just lost it. I just lost it.
Oh, I thought you were dramatic pausing.
Dramatic pause.
Yeah.
What? There's something that came out. I forget who it was. Something. It's a Nintendo thing, of course. It's a Nintendo thing.
Tamagotchi.
No, that's fire. That's fire. That's fire. I've heard
Poketopia.
pretty good things about that so far. So wouldn't consider that a miss.
Is it the
what-
tariff thing?
I think it's it's the tariff thing. I just don't remember exactly what happened. It was something specific that happened that's quite literally affecting
Oh.
gaming.
Okay, maybe not the tariff thing then. But Nintendo is getting a tariff refund, and because they increased their Switch by $50. So like, but Nintendo's technically getting paid twice.
Yeah.
What?
Because they're technically, I think, either being sued or in the process of being sued because they have not
When is
admitted.
Nintendo
if
getting
the-
sued?
Yeah.
So what are they? They're getting sued for that?
Yes, because they have not announced the way the tariff refund is technically supposed to be passed back on to the consumers. But if they don't pass that back on and they just keep the money, the 50, like they're getting the full cost of whatever the Switch was plus the refund for it. So they're getting not double paid, but additionally paid for every Switch with that refund. Yeah.
Yes, that is exactly what I'm talking about. And I was gonna use that as a segue to the topic that I was talking about. That's why I was like, it was the Nintendo thing. I just trying to remember what it was, but okay, yeah. So I think that's gonna be a really big friggin' problem because if companies start like PlayStation, like Xbox and stuff, start raising their console prices, right? And people start buying it and people start buying into these things, right? They can be
Start.
they're in the future are going to be able to create a precedence for that type of behavior. Like
Yeah. Hashtag $900 PS5 or PS5
no, I know
Pro.
we already have those.
Yeah, like-
$900 PS5. God.
No,
Fine.
PS5 Pro. Let's
Pro.
make sure that we're getting the correct thing. The regular PS5 is, I think, between $650 and $700 after the latest tax hike,
Oh,
or
yeah.
not tax hike,
and that
price hike.
looks at about 800 Canadian too, which is
Yeah.
diabolical. Like I got mine for 720 after tax.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
the disc version.
And also,
now
by
the
the-
disc
yeah.
version is like,
sorry, but for those of you in chat, yes, we know it's insane. And as far as the Nintendo thing, we are also aware that they have not been reimbursed yet. Everything is still pending, but it is a
it's just
potential.
a really scummy situation.
Yes.
Because it's very hard to tell, and it's more than likely going to go in the way of the aspect of greed. They're going to try to find a way keep that money, right? For
Oh,
profit.
Nintendo being greedy? Never.
No way.
Never would they ever, right?
Whoa.
I was like, and there
But
goes our
yeah, like
podcast.
it's kind of like
Every
the
month.
consumer for Nintendo lately has just been getting ding after ding after ding, and then they'll come out with this crazy thing, and everyone's like, oh, Nintendo, and it's like, you forgot what they did last month, though, didn't you?
Yeah.
Type thing. And I get, and it's hard because product and nostalgia sells, and sometimes it's not really about the publisher, it's about the developer, and you really want to support the developer by playing their games and stuff, right? and and that's the whole thing with it. I don't disagree that Sony is doing the same thing with pulling their exclusives and all this other stuff from PC, because that's not going to help them. It's not going to help us. It's not going to help gaming at all. It's just putting a segue between the idea that things will be crossplay. We've already entered the age of crossplay, and you want to come back. Seems a little weird to me, but
Yeah.
I mean, that's it for me though. China's ramping up its RAM factories, so the situation is going
Mhm.
to get better. But, interesting.
Yeah, as not to go down that rabbit hole, I think as someone who works in the tech field, China ramping up factories for technology, a lot of them. There have been a lot of great things that have come out technologically from the Made in China initiative. I am just going to say that computer components aren't there yet. Hashtag look up the all China made CPU, and you can see why I don't really think it's going to be a year and a half until they start producing things that actually matter, because they're basically making Celerons right now. And if you are sitting there going, what's a Celeron? I rest my case as to why you don't actually care about their CPU made processors, and AMD and Intel are the only ones that still matter. Yay, Taiwan and 2 factories producing silicone for wafers, but that is a whole different issue. Tess, what about you? What is your critical hit and or miss?
My critical hit is the fact that if you would like to see Tess on holiday in a video game, now you can, because I am in the recently released Otome game, case number 1, Rose Academy.
Ooh,
Yes, which was very
congrats.
exciting for me. Thank you. They had all the streamers who demoed their game, they put them as like different things as like little Easter eggs throughout the game.
That is very
Friggin'
cool.
awesome. You're
That
like
was
in the
really
game.
cool.
That is
Yeah,
so
like
friggin'
Tess on
cool.
Holiday is in the game. It's really awesome.
Oh,
Oh
it's
my
called
god, I
Rose
love that.
Academy?
I love that.
Yeah, Rose Academy. And it's trigger warnings. There is some unfortunate things that happen in the game. But it's still very informative and it's very true to real life. So I mean, but very good, very good. And there's a
Nice.
hot woman with green hair that you can date.
That's high key chaos, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
yeah. But my I came in expecting my critical miss to be Tamagotchi, but actually they kind of cooked with that. I still think Mii's look weird. I have no desire to play the game, but I've watched my creative friends play the
Yeah.
game. And oh my goodness, like one, they're talented. And bananas, especially the ones who I've seen draw and create like different anime characters, different like Nintendo characters. Just bananas. Very cool. Also the fact that Nintendo did not block the use of curse words on
Yeah.
your own island floored me.
It is chaos.
Yeah.
I cannot tell you. It is utter
There are
chaos.
things that happen.
The things that you can make your Miis say are insane. Anyway, unhinged shit, love it. But I never did play the original. We've talked about the fact that like I really was not that gaming versed until about 2021. Because I exclusively played Legend of Zelda. Scooby Doo games and Nintendogs.
Yeah. Oh, that's too funny. No, that's awesome.
My Nintendog is probably wondering when I'm coming back.
Oh, I know.
He's sitting there. He's like, he'll be back with the milk soon. It'll be fine.
Sitting there in a thrift
Right.
store just waiting for somebody to buy him.
Oh,
He'll be back one day.
yeah.
Oh,
Little
I'm
Johnny,
so
is that you?
sad.
Do I have some news for you?
Yeah. Yeah, but for me, I honestly like it was announced, if I'm not mistaken, it was either yesterday or the day before. They are completely remaking Assassin's Creed Black Flag. And I
No
am
way.
yes, resynced is real. I am really excited about that. I'm really excited, but I'm also of two minds because the at least the PC version of that game has been broken for a few years, and it will be nice to get a remade, resynced, because it's not a remaster; it's completely made from the ground up, which I'm really excited for.
It's
Uh,
Unreal Engine, I assume, right?
Yeah,
Or they use
which
the same engine that they used in Valhalla.
yeah, but I what really like I was sitting there, I was like, while I was really excited about it, I was like, I still own the regular Black Flag. I don't need it right away. Like whatever, I'll get it when it's eventually on sale. And then they came out and said you could get a cat for your ship, and I'm gonna tell Ubisoft to shut up and take my money because I want a pirate cat. So it's gonna happen. Ironically, speaking of cats,
He's been screaming for the last hour.
I mean, so have I. So fair. But like, yeah, like it's really exciting. Like I really like the Assassin's Creed games. Like, and having a what potentially could be one of, if not the best Assassin's Creed game, completely remade with like, I don't want to say I don't care about the graphics because, like, don't get me wrong, good graphics are always going to be a good thing, but I'm more excited about the quality of life things that they are saying that they're going to bring into it too. So that has me completely hyped up, or hype as fuck, as the kids say. Yeah, I'm hoping. After that talk about greedy Ubisoft, they got a trump card with the pirate cat. Don't get me wrong. I think Ubisoft is greedy as fuck. I think that they are, you know what, but like, I think most corporations are greedy as fuck too. Like, you know what? Like, I think that like it is very rare to see a person and or a corporation that isn't greedy AF. I think I'm not going to say that, you know, like I'm not saying this to blow smoke up the, you know, people in my podcast asses and things of that nature, but like it's rare to see streamers nowadays that also aren't greedy as fuck that are sitting there and be like, so I'm going to run ads all the fucking time, and I'm going to run like please for the love of God sub to me, and like, you know, like do these things where it's like, you know, how about, you know, I'm only going to allow you to do these things if you donate. And it's like, bro, like, people are greedy as they're greedy. It is what it is.
You say right as I'm coming up on my next.
You're doing a subathon for your
damn.
birthday. It's not like you do that every like 2.5 hours. You know what I mean? Like, it's the first time you've done it in like how many, you know, like years? Like, no. It's the same thing where I'm like, I don't care if people, like, I don't even give a shit if big streamers do subathons. Not to go off on a tangent, but it's like, look, if you're going to do a subathon, do it. It's another thing to sit there and be like, bro, I'm going to do a subathon for the first week of April, and then the third week of April, and then the first week of May, and then the second week of May, and then we'll take off the third week of May, but we're going to do 2 in the fourth week of May. And it's like, bro, like at that point, like I get it. Maybe, just maybe, you can't make this a career if you're just begging people for money all the time. I also just don't think I'm trying to make this a career, so that's a different thing. Plus, 100% as well. You throw me a pirate cat, I'm going to say, shut up and take my money, which is why I also own Cat Quest 1, 2, and 3. Specifically 3 because it's pirate themed, and specifically 2 as well because it had dogs in co-op multiplayer. The Cat Quest 1 through 3, phenomenal games, by the way. Yeah, not all greedy, but as far as the critical miss, ironically, I also think it is slightly a miss as well, but it is not my critical miss because, like I said, I think it would be nice if Ubisoft also took the time to fix the broken version of Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, so I didn't feel 100% compelled to buy it. The Resynced, even though, again, the reason I feel 100% compelled to buy it is Kitty.
Don't fix what you can remake.
Yeah, and like, look, there's plenty of time. Like, I think that like the remake and the remaster culture is hitting a little too far, but at least Black Flag is old enough where it's like that. I also, like I said, I still think it is one of the best, if not the best Assassin's Creed game. I don't think modern gaming audiences, if you don't have the nostalgia for it, will enjoy it as much as they will the remake with modern conveniences and things of that nature. But that's not my critical. My critical miss is, ironically, this month, Sony. I don't remember when it was. The Sony has updated their terms of service. Yeah, I was going to say it's within this week.
It was like yesterday or the day before. I had to sign back in. I was like, "Why am I signed out?"
Yeah,
and
part of the terms of service in there are because there is now like areas that they have to do age verification for certain chat features based on like certain like countries and areas that like have now put that into law, which is an annoying thing that you have to, upload documentation and all that. But the big reason for that miss is somebody found in those terms of services that they have now changed their wording to be exactly like Nintendo's, where if you remember, Sauce earlier mentioned that Nintendo, according to their TOS, has the right to brick your console if you do certain things that they find either against their policies or whatever. It's no longer, Sony is no longer saying in their terms of service that they will just be able to ban your account or remove your online access. Sony is now saying, according to their TOS, that they have the right to render and brick your consoles unusable for whatever reason they determine. They don't have to specify what that reason is to you. They just say that they have the right to brick your console if you break their policy, and they don't have to tell you what that policy is. They don't have to tell you what you did to break that policy. So they basically get to sit there and say, not that I think that they are going to like suddenly start mass bricking consoles for people, but specifically, Zeno, that is against their policy. So theoretically, that is what a lot of people are afraid of. And ironically, this comes after somebody found ways to put Linux and other non-Sony type things on Sony consoles. So I hate these things in terms of services. And yes, now while I also know from working in the industry that I work in, that terms of services are not technically legally binding, the amount of time and effort and money that it will take for either individuals or even a large class action or a large group of individuals to sit there and go, well, we're going to sue because this is not legal or things of that nature. As much as I would agree with you, good fucking luck, because even if you win, you are still out your console until you win if Sony decides this. And this is what always pisses me off, because at least in, the areas that I live in, Sauce, I don't know if you're north or south of the, the Canadian, line.
Southern.
Okay, perfect. So like you, me, Tess, I can't speak to Zeno because I don't know Canadian law, but in the United States, we do have the right for things that we own, to go in and jailbreaking and things and modifying those things, as long as we own and we are not leasing from said company. We have the right legally to do that. That is a legally protected thing in our country. But even though it's legally protected, it is only legally protected if somebody sues, if it is like you said, if somebody does it, if Sony decides to start bricking consoles, it's not like Sony has to turn it back on. You still have to sue them. You got to go through the courts. You got to go through all those things. It's gonna take forever and a day. And you also then have to hope that the judge and or jury agrees with that correct interpretation of the law, and not what Sony's multi-million-dollar lawyers can, dance around and make them think, well, maybe, just maybe. Because like technically the way
before you get any results.
Yeah, because the way that
They'll keep
technically
moving files over and over again.
Yeah. The way that technically Sony, I haven't 100% read Nintendo's newest terms of service, because again, I don't want to say I get bored, but I actually go through and read the terms and services a lot for these things. And before we finish up, why is the mothership pixelated? Canadian Moose internet is just acting up today. That's 100% honestly the answer, the Moose. But when it comes to at least the way that Sony seems to be getting away with it, is that while you legally own the physical hardware box of the PS5, Sony legally owns the software that is being pushed to said PS5. So they're not bricking the hardware, they're bricking the software. So that's how they are, for lack of a better term, interpreting in a way that they can get around it. And as, again, I am not a lawyer. I have taken some law classes. I did not take the bar. That was a long time ago, so this is not legal advice. I've only played one on TV. Technically, if Sony argues that, legally, they can be considered in the right, which is another problem in and of itself.
Indeed.
So this is the issue, that this is why it's a big fail to me, because I personally think that everyone should have the right to do what they want with their devices. And they're technically saying, well, you have that as long as you don't use our software to it. But the only way that Sony has also not released a way to get any other software on that box. So that's where there's also another weird legal loophole. But again, I don't want to turn this into a legal podcast, because I really don't want to. But yeah, so that is a bad thing. And I think it's bad that Sony and Nintendo are taking these things. And I just really, really wish that, look, I am 100% behind removing people's access to your online services, where if you do something that is against the Nintendo or Sony terms of service, sure, ban the account. ban their ability to go on what does Sony call their online services that that
or PlayStation Plus,
yeah,
whatever you want to call it.
go
It
ahead.
shouldn't be unilateral. It shouldn't be a unilateral decision.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying where I'm like, hey, go ban the ability to do those things. Stop, if Zeno is ever caught cheating in a multiplayer game, yeah, ban his access from PlayStation Network to do that. And then, but don't, yeah. If you even want to go as far as to say ban the console from the internet because, well, if we just ban the account, then he can make a new one. I'm even willing to sit there and go, yeah, sure. You want to make an IP ban for that or whatever, or a console ban? Sure. But the ability for a company to have the ability to go into a device in your home via the network and say, we're going to render it completely inoperable, and we don't have to tell you why. That's where we have a problem.
You don't inform. There's no call before. There's no information. There's no warning. It's just happens essentially. And it's like, I have paid you $800 for a console. What am I paying for exactly?
Yeah.
Am I paying for the hardware? Am I paying for the ability to, or the license to use your console at this point?
Technically, according to their TOS, potentially.
Yeah. So if I'm
which is bullshit.
$1,000 for a PlayStation 5, and this is coming from a PlayStation person, like the only reason is that I'm still here is time invested, right? I could have easily gotten a PC at the time, but I'd already spent plenty of time on PS4, and there was the crossover stuff, so it was just a no-brainer for cost effectiveness. Realistically, there is no need for the hard-coded systems that they never had before, that was never needed before, and the only reason they're probably doing it at this point is because companies are either complaining that they can't deal with hackers, which like in and itself is sort of like are you going to create backdoors? Like Call of Duty was like, oh, we're going to create this anti-cheating software.
Mm-hmm.
But that anti-cheating software did absolutely nothing. Like PlayStation console players can still cheat. And people are like, oh, you can't cheat, you can't mod on console. You quite literally can.
Yeah, it's not hard.
But
not that I condone it.
Unilaterally do it because it's easier to ask for forgiveness later than it is to ask for permission for them, right? So they're like, no, we're just gonna ban you because of whatever reason. Somebody could literally spoof your IP and be like, I'm gonna use this guy's IP or whatever, right? To run my mods or whatnot. Or run whatever hacking system I'm doing on my PlayStation. And your IP gets dinged, your console gets shut down. I'm not saying that this is just a weird possibility. It's not a thing that is going to work well in practice, I think. Which is why like the whole court thing wouldn't. I don't like it would hold, but it would be really hard. But at the same time, they'd probably just be hinching on you just not having enough money to fight them.
Yeah, that's unfortunately that is the majority of why things in TOSs are in there is because they know the average person does not have the money to fight a large corporation. Now, again, I also think that the other reason they put it in there is because they saw Nintendo put it in there. Yes, Nintendo got a whole lot of pushback for it. And again, rightfully so. But it's still in there. Nintendo hasn't taken it out, but Nintendo's just, they haven't also done it yet. Or I should say, they haven't done it. If they have done it, they haven't done it on a scale that people seem to care about or that it matters to. And I think that's Sony's way of doing it and being like, well, Nintendo got away with it. We might as well get away with it too. We may never do it, but it's good to have the option. And from their point, I can see why they as a corporation would think that it is a good thing to have the option. As a consumer and someone who believes in things like right to repair and all of those things, I think it's the worst friggin' thing on the planet. And ironically, I am not saying this as a like a person who hates consoles or anything of that nature, because I'm wondering if these changes that are happening to what statistically are the two most popular console making companies are. I also just wonder if, with now all the changes that are coming to Microsoft and its Xbox gaming division, and the what potentially is everyone talking about, a hybrid console for Project Helix, as well as I'm sure some of you have seen the leaked internal memo of we are Xbox and we want to bring things back to the gaming community and blah, blah, blah. I'm wondering, because Xbox does not have that in their current TOS, if that continues on, will this potentially sway people to sit there and go, well, not only is it not a potential option for this to happen if I switch, but if Helix is as open as people theoretically think it is, could this potentially lead into the resurgence? I don't think it's ever going to like take the number one spot, just because of the amount of Switch 2s and all that Nintendo has put in there. But Microsoft did beat Sony in the console wars for a while once in the 360 era. Could we potentially see this again in next generation? And ironically, may not just be because of hardware, but also because of software and potential just terms of service things. I think that may be a topic where we potentially talk about next week. But are there any final thoughts on our critical hits and or misses? No? Sauce, I can't see you shaking your head.
Nope.
Okay.
But I am.
Perfect. All right. So thanks for hanging out with us on Press Start Together. If you enjoyed this episode, let us know, especially your confession time takes. I know there are some wild ones out there. I'm looking at you in the chat. Until next time, take care of yourselves, and don't forget to press start together. But before we leave, Sauce, where can people find you?
People can find me on Twitch, Balling with the Sauce. You can find me on social medias, on Instagram Threads, and on YouTube and TikTok.
Awesome. Zeno, where can people find you?
You can find me here on Twitch at Zeno's Mothership and on TikTok at Zeno's Mothership and Instagram and Threads at Zeno's Cantina.
Awesome. Tess, where can we find you?
You can find me at any social media that I'm on at Tess on Holiday. The exception's mainly X.
Yep. And you guys can find me, the Altaholic. That is ALTOHOLLIC, because I say it every month, but it's still true. Someone took the correct spelling, and I still haven't forgiven them for it. And I'm on Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, and Threads. But once again, guys, thank you for joining us, and enjoy the rest of your night.